I'm a boy.
You said ain't that a hot mess?
I'm a boy.
Ain't nothing boy about that.
I'm a
but
boy.
that shirt.
Well, I turned to Tyra, and Tyra had the alleged young man, Jeffrey, who was a participant in the Gay Exorcism, Manifested Glory's ministry, and they said it wasn't a gay exorcism. They said that was a phrase that was coined by members on YouTube. What they did was they were doing a deliverance of a homosexual demon out of a young 16-year-old Jeffrey's body. I'm trying to get it all out because this is a very touchy subject. I attend church of a holiness doctrine. I do believe that you can be delivered from certain spirits. I don't believe that homosexuality is a spirit. And then you have to be able to have a discernment of what is true. The Bible says rightly divide the word of truth. This woman, my discernment told me that she was a false prophet. That they basically, they brainwashed this boy. This boy was 16 years old. He got kicked out of his mother's house because he was a cross-dresser. He's now living with the pastor. This is all the stuff they didn't say on Tyra. Even Tyra looked at him and could tell this boy still is gay. When he asked, "Are you attracted to women?" he says, yeah, he stumbled. He was obviously very, very nervous. The fact that they sat there and allowed for a 16-year-old to be put on this platform. And then what got me was that the overseer, the wife of the prophet, Patricia McKinney, she's the prophet and the pastor of the house. Her husband is the overseer.
It's called a house?
No, that's the word they use, the pastor of the house. Because, she is, when you're the prophet and the pastor of the house, that means you're the forerunner of protecting God's sanctuary. And anyway, the fact that she's so adamant about following the word of truth, if she really did follow the word of truth, then she would not be speaking at all, because the Bible speaks that the woman should be seen. Well, in so many terms, it says the woman should be seen and not heard. Even though there's other parts of the Bible that says that, my sons and my daughters will prophesy.
And that's why God chose Esther. Girl, let me shut up.
Right. But
don't get me.
The one thing I noticed is that when Tyra was talking to Jeffrey,
excuse me, Hadassah. Go ahead.
Jeffrey was really nervous. He was very, very nervous. His goatee seemed to be.
Girl, that was a caterpillar.
It seemed to be perpetrated. It seemed to be perpetrated. Like he perpetrated, like Patricia McKinney and her husband. This is all alleged. This is only my opinion. But it made it seem like they purposely tried to make him seem like he was more mature than what he really was. He was a 16-year-old boy with a goatee about this thick, like he was 30 years old. His mannerisms, and even though they said the deliverance is a process. But they said he is delivered from a homosexuality. He is no longer homosexual. He's not delivered if he's still in the process. Now, I personally don't believe you can be delivered from homosexuality. I believe that homosexuality is not a spirit. It's just a part of your body. It's who you are. Just like if you have blue eyes and you like fried eggs. I think it's part of your DNA. I think, that's exactly who you are. There are a lot of situations where, you have 5-year-old homosexuals. Parents, they knew their children growing up that the child was going to be homosexual. I don't think you have a choice of being a homosexual. And the American Psychological Association just recently came out with a study basically saying that to be a homosexual is exactly what it is. To try to force a person to go from being a homosexual to a heterosexual can cause mental damage and emotional damage. But I don't think people actually sit there and think about that.
I had a few topics that I wanted to touch on this situation. You already touched on the one about the beard that he had on, because I thought he looked like a 30-year-old pervert sitting there talking. Because I'm like, wait a minute, this boy is 16 years old. He clearly has a suit on. He doesn't have any signs of a high level of testosterone at all. And all of a sudden, you just deeply have this massive beard just sitting there right on your face. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. And
it really was massive.
I thought it was too thick for a 16-year-old boy to have. I really did. I mean, I don't know any 16-year-old boys who actually like facial hair but would not let it grow that long.
I bet you Overseer McKinney had something to do with that beard being there.
That was one of the ones that you buy from like a gay shop and you just you tape on there and pay it. No shade. That's what it looked like. And I'm sitting like, okay, so I'm sitting there and I went to pay really attention to not only him but Tyra and the audience's response. And after I watched the disturbing video of them performing this, I don't care what anyone says, I think it's still an exorcism, because if you're deeming that you are releasing a spirit from the human body, then you are exorcising a spirit, rather it be a demon or just a spirit or another entity. You are exorcising something out of that individual. So, in my opinion, it still was an exorcism.
Well,
however, let me finish. However, the only type of sexually perverted demons that have been brought into account that can get inside of a human body and can take control over someone, can make them do things that are, unnatural, make them do things that are different, are the two demons, incubus and succubus. Those are the only two that I know of. And reports of individuals who are either possessed or taken over by a spirit or another entity usually have symptoms of violent behavior. Usually have symptoms of, voice being deeper, or, speaking in languages that they've never spoken. There's so many symptoms that go into someone who's being possessed by another entity or spirit, or someone who's being controlled by another entity or spirit.
Just to chime in, Patricia McKenzie. Now, mind you, Jeffrey said that he has no memory whatsoever of the actual exorcism itself. So everything is coming second-handedly from
the video.
From the video and from Patricia McKinney herself. She said that when he walked in to the church, that he violently fell down and threw himself on the floor, and he started sporadically like throwing his arms and stuff like that. So she grabbed, as the video showed, she grabbed the oil. She started,
Well, how come that's not on tape? They got everything else on tape. How come that's not on tape?
Of him falling to the ground? Right.
Because if he was coming there and you wanted to record, why didn't you record the entire account?
Well, it was recorded from a cell phone.
Still.
So they say. It was recorded from a cell phone.
Was that information supposed to be recorded? Because here's my thing. I'm not disagreeing with the fact that they wanted to do whatever it was that they wanted to do to, quote unquote, cure this boy of a homosexual spirit. I think what really pissed me off more is the fact that they are using this 16-year-old boy, who, mind you, isn't aware of the type of position that he's been put in as being the poster boy for gay exorcism.
He's not aware of it at all. And
it's really sad, because if anyone remembers him, if anyone sees him, it's going to be hard for him to get a job. People are always going to know him as, oh, you're the boy who had the gay exorcism. I mean, think about, what that child is going to have to go through for the rest of his life. Forget the fact that if he's still gay or not. Think about what he's going to have to go through for the rest of his life.
For the King Prince Jamie Cat sauce. Who is Teddy Rockfist?
Ooh! Ooh! This interview is over.